Welcome back. I'm going to show you today how to make Hungarian goulash. And to start off with, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut up your meat. I got the meat cut up into nice bite-sized chunks. Now, if you ever made a gravy, you'll find out that you have to make a roux at the end, which means messing with butter and flour. Well, I'm going to show you a way to eliminate that step to make your life a whole lot easier. What you do is you just take the meat and you put it in a bowl, or in this case the Papa Bear mug, and you pour the flour in. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to coat the meat with flour. And this way it will make its own gravy and save you a step. Alright? So then what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the kitchen. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm using a Dutch oven. But you can do this in a regular pot. You can also do this in a crock pot as well. But we're going to use the Dutch oven because it cooks the meat a little bit faster. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil into our pan, like so, just so that the meat doesn't stick. And I did spray it with non-stick as well. And then I'm just going to take the meat out. We're going to start putting that in the hot oil. Maybe come around here so you can get a little closer view of what's going on down here. And we're just going to start browning the meat. And then once the meat is good and brown, we're actually going to take it out, and then I'll show you the next step. So stand by for about a minute and we'll be right back. Did I get you over there, Dave?
I'm telling Mom.
Well, you can tell all this too. Take a look at the meat. It's nice and brown. Alright. And you'll notice there's all kinds of nasty stuff down there, but that's the good stuff because we're going to use that in a minute. So what we do is we're going to take this out. I'm just going to put it in our bowl. And then as part of any good sauce, you're going to have to use a little bit of wine. I'll show you how to deglaze the pan, and we'll get all that good stuff out of there too. Alright, so here's what we do. You'll take a glass of wine, like so, and you pour it in the bottom of it. And then just the heat will help you get all that. We're going to incorporate all that stuff into the juice, and then we're just going to pour it over our meat, and then we'll get on to the next step in our Hungarian goulash. Hey! Here we go. Okay. Alright, so we'll pour that in there. That'll be incorporated into our sauce. And we're going to next, we're going to take a little more olive oil, and we're going to put it in the pan there. And if you'll look over here, you'll notice I have finished chopping up a couple 3 onions. We're going to put that in there, like so. And we'll start cooking our onions. Alright. And then you'll notice I have on the board garlic, but I have not cut that yet because you don't want to put the garlic in too early because it will burn. So what we'll do is we'll start browning our onions there, and then we'll add this. And then to get the garlic ready, a lot of people invest a lot of money in expensive tools like garlic presses. Well, I got a garlic press for you right here. That's all you got to do. And then you can get the peels off nice and easy, and we'll just chop those up. And then once our onions get browned a little bit, or actually just translucent, then we'll add these in to the final stage. Nothing to it. Alright, so take that there. Now I can hear our onions sizzling over here, so like I said, we're just going to cook these down just a touch. Okay. That'll take a minute or two to get these down to the right consistency, and we'll be right back.
I'm still telling Mom.
We got our onions, they're nice and translucent. Alright, so now we're going to add the garlic. Because if you add it too early, you will burn the garlic. And we don't want to burn our garlic. And then we're going to mix that around. I usually like to put in at least 3 cloves. You know, some people say 1 clove. I like garlic, so I put a little extra garlic in there. 3 or 4 cloves won't kill anybody. And it's just going to make that, it's just going to flavor the stew, because that's all that Hungarian goulash is. It's just a beef stew with attitude. And if you register with us on mancavemunchies.com, I'll also send you not only the recipe for the Hungarian goulash, but I'll also send you a variation, because you can very easily convert this from Hungarian goulash into beef stroganoff. So you'll get that recipe as well. So anyway, we're going to sweat this out. We're letting the garlic brown just a scooch here, and then we're going to put it all together and let it cook. So just letting this Unfortunately, we don't have smell-o-vision, so you can't smell how wonderful the onions and garlic smell when they're cooking. We're just going to let that go for maybe another minute, and then we're going to add the beef and the gravy. And then I'll show you how to set up the sauce, and then you just have to, if it's in the Dutch oven, you're going to let it cook for at least an hour. If you're using a regular pot, you're going to let it cook for 2 hours. And if you put it in the crock pot, you can let it cook all day long, because the more tender the meat is, the better it's going to taste. All right, get back over here, Dave, and I'm going to add the beef.
The beef.
The beef.
Where's the beef?
Where's the beef? Here's the beef. Take all that, put that in there. You'll notice already it's starting to make gravy. And then you want to add a cup of water. And then what I like to do, because again, water does not impart any taste, well, this stuff does. So I'm going to add a nice little shot of vino. And then last but not least, because this is very important when you're doing Hungarian goulash, you want to add a couple of tablespoons of paprika. That's about a couple of tablespoons there. So let's put all that in there, and you're going to mix that around. And then last but not least, to the gravy, you are going to add, if I can get this thing to open, you're going to get a can of tomato paste, not tomato sauce, the thick stuff, tomato paste, and you're going to put the entire can of the tomato paste into the gravy. All right, and then you stir that around until it gets incorporated. And then it just needs to cook. I just want to show you what's going on here, because if you put it in like a Dutch oven, you don't want to have it too high, but you want it to be bubbling. And you can see how nice the gravy is. I put plenty of sauce in there. I like the gravy. And when you make the gravy, like I said, you can use a dry red wine, or you can use something like a stout. I mean, that would be very good to season the gravy with that. That'll work with either this or the beef stroganoff. So the trick is, though, once you get the gravy going and you get it bubbling, you don't, especially doing it in a Dutch oven, you don't want to turn it on too high because you'll burn it. So make sure once you get it going that you crank it down to, you know, medium low. So now we've got all that taken care of. It's going to cook for, in this case, since we're using a Dutch oven, it's going to cook for an hour, hour and a half, and then we'll come back. And if you stay tuned, I'll show you how to make the world's easiest noodles. They're called Spätzles. They're Bavarian noodles. You whip them up in less time than it takes to boil a pot of water. So we'll be right back.